Everybody, another cold one here in Northeast Iowa. The weather's taking a turn for the worse. So a couple of things today. The main thing I want to talk to you today about is this box set, Dischord's the First Six Records. So for their 200th release, approximately their 40th anniversary, they put out this box set of their first six records. It's a bunch of 7 inches. So all that early stuff coming out in its original form for the first time in a long time. And a couple of new things I got. I honestly still haven't decided if I want to talk about these things yet. I might make a separate video about this, but I got them right here, so I got those. And I also want to talk to you about the Kevin Gray interview a little bit. So I'll find the timestamp and put it in the description for when I start to talk about this. So if you don't care about me reflecting on the Kevin Gray interview, go to the description, find that timestamp, and you can fast forward to that. But if you are interested, I interviewed Kevin Gray, and what the hell, huh? So first of all, like probably just about anyone else who stumbled upon it, I can't believe he said yes. My channel's pretty new. I'm thrilled with how many subscribers have happened already in just a couple of months, but it's still not that many compared to the bigger channels. And he said yes. So I contacted 3 different mastering engineers, and Kevin was like the Hail Mary. It was the other 2 I thought were way more likely to say yes. But with the other 2, the one said, I don't do interviews anymore. I hate doing interviews. I always say the wrong thing on the spot. I regretted every interview I've ever done. So I thought it was super sweet that he unpacked all that for me, and it said, it's not you, it's me, is kind of how he put it. And anyway, that was really nice in and of itself. And then the other one just never wrote back, which that's fine. Anyway, I'm not gonna say who it is. I don't want to. Anyway, but Kevin, I just sent an email just thinking like I've got no chance but to send an email, and he wrote back and he wanted to do it. And we were going to do it the previous weekend, and he ended up getting busy, and so then we did it the following weekend. And so now it's the Wednesday afterwards. So it was this past Saturday on the 5th, I guess that must have been. And I ended up posting it right away. I had thoughts of doing another video or 2 in the meantime, and sort of like talking it up a little bit and be like, I've got a special thing coming up. And I just kind of realized that I had no idea what the best time to post such a video would be. And furthermore, I just am not into that kind of gimmicky thing of and maybe that's part of why it hasn't really caught on as much as I thought it might catch on. But anyway, so Kevin was great. That's the first time I've ever interviewed anybody, and he made it really easy on me. He's just a joy to talk to, just super level-headed, just regular guy, happens to be the best in the world at what he does, but he doesn't have a big head about it and just likes to talk about this stuff. And it was just a really easy, fun conversation to have, even though I was nervous and everything at first, at least, but it didn't take long to get into a groove, and I'm just really happy with how it came out. Immediately when it got done, I started, having all those self-doubt thoughts about like, oh man, this came out wrong, and I said the wrong name for a Wayne Shorter album, and it's a couple other things that just things do come out wrong on the spot sometimes. And so I don't necessarily even endorse every single thing that I said in the video, but having said that, I feel like it actually came out really good. I'm really happy with it, even though there's imperfections here and there, which I think is inevitable in something where you're basically live. So I just decided to post it right away. I was excited about it, and I just went for it. And I gotta be honest, I am kind of disappointed that it hasn't taken off more. I realize it makes sense to a certain degree because I don't have a ton of subscribers. But at the same time, I have had a few videos that just have disproportionately high numbers of views despite how few subscribers I have. The number one being my intro video. So that's over 4,000 now. It's just insane how many views that has. But I kind of understand why. It's That's a sort of a standard kind of video that people do, and it got juiced by many accounts with a lot of followers. So Mazzy commented, University of Vinyl commented, Vinyl Guru. There's several more. So I think that goes a long, long way. University of Vinyl did comment on my Kevin Gray video, but I think that's the only sort of bigger account that commented on it. And so like this, that's, a smaller account like me is basically sort of dependent on either a bigger account to juice it, or for it to have some kind of crossover appeal, so that regular non-vinyl people are finding this video, or there needs to be some kind of conflict or something, right? Like, if I were like, using that video to call somebody out or something like that, I'm sure that would have attracted a lot of attention. So I kind of get it on that level. It's also an hour-long video, and there's a couple of Kevin Gray interview videos out there. So maybe there's Kevin Gray interview fatigue. I don't know, but having said that, I know that it's early. Even my intro video didn't take off right away. It took a while to sort of build a following. It was sort of like maximum increase of viewership was like a couple weeks in. So it could be that it still takes off at some point. I certainly would love it if some of the bigger accounts would notice it and comment or do something to juice it, because I think it's really good. I'm really proud of it, and that is the kind of the direction I want to go in the future. I do want to start doing more interviews. I thought it was really fun, and I'd like to keep doing that. And I've got a couple of tentative things. I don't have any concrete stuff yet, so I'm not going to talk about specifically what it is, but I have reached out to some more people, not just mastering engineers, and I'm hoping that turns into sort of a regular part of what I do. That sometimes I'm just talking about records, and sometimes I'm talking about people in the record world, whether it be mastering engineers or record store owners or even bands. I'm hoping to talk to, artists. Okay, so I think that sums up everything I'm wanting to say about that. I mean, I don't want to sound like I'm complaining either. I'm super pleased, like to be able to like make any video and have it be seen 200 times in 4 days or whatever. That in and of itself is awesome. But it is true that, like, when I'm happiest with my channel, I'm happy with this whole project when I am focused on how well I am realizing my ideas rather than how many views did it get. And certainly YouTube is trying to like get you to look at the number of views, and I would like to think about that less. I'd be much happier about the whole situation if I was thinking about that less, because I think it turned out imperfect, but having said that, great. I'm really thrilled with how that video turned out. Okay, enough about that. And so this is where I'll try to find the timestamp, and let's talk about the First Six Records. Okay, so this is a box set that Dischord put out back in May or so. They opened up pre-orders for this, and they left the pre-orders open for a month. And however many pre-orders they took in a month, that's how many they made. And they were originally thinking it was going to come out maybe in December. Ended up being just a few weeks ago in like mid-February or something like that when they sent it out. And I knew I was going to be moving sometime soon when they put pre-orders out, so I had this sent to my parents' house. So my parents got it, and then something like a week later I got it. And it's taken a little while to sort of digest it. So I'll just say this. This sonically is not impressive. It says here, remastered by TJ Lipple, and then it was pressed in Holland. I take this to be digital transfers of the tapes. And so like the pressing is not all that impressive, and the mastering is acceptable, certainly, but it's nothing that special. Like, for example, the minor threat stuff that's on this, that's just available typically as in 12-inch form as a compilation, and that's mastered by Bob Weston, and that sounds awesome, way better than these. So as you may have heard, they included this extra 7-inch that they never even talked about when they put it out. This is the Slinkies. This is Ian MacKay's, I assume, first band. And the Slinkies The singer left to go to college, and they were all just in high school. And then that evolved into the Teen Idols. So the Teen Idols is the first thing that Dischord ever put out, and it's got it all in the original packaging and stuff. This is a cool photo in back where that's Ian, that's Jeff Nelson, who would later be in Minor Threat. That's Henry Rollins, who at the time was still known as Henry Garfield. So that's Teen Idols was the first ever Dischord record. The second ever Dischord record was s.o.a, State of Alert. That's Henry Rollins, Henry Garfield at the time's first band. The third release was Minor Threat's first ever 7-inch. And this was just a quantum leap in quality, I gotta tell you. But I'll get into that in a minute. Government Issue, their first 7-inch, and this band evolved quite a bit over the years. It was just pure raw basic hardcore at that point. Minor Threat's second 7-inch, in my eyes. This is also 1981, I believe. And then Youth Brigade, and then the singer of Youth Brigade was the singer of Teen Idols. So this is the band that he went on to front. And he's a good singer, like a good hardcore singer. And I thought this photo was cool. I don't know if you can tell, but like that's like cut and pasted on there, the audience is, to make it look like they're playing to a bunch of people. I like that kind of thing. Okay, and so like I said, sonically very unimpressive. What's really fun for me is, I've loved Minor Threat for a long time, and so for me the most interesting thing about this is hearing Minor Threat kind of in its original context, so to speak. The Slinkies, this is super raw. This is more or less a boombox recording. I think they said they used 2 mics onto cassette tape, and it's a bunch of it's a bunch of high school kids. So it's not necessarily musically all that special, but it's just fun to hear the sort of embryonic version of what Ian MacKaye was up to. And so then you can hear the step forward they made a year later with the same band but a new singer. Again, I personally don't find this, like, I'm not a big hardcore guy, I should just say, even though my first band was a hardcore band, and there is hardcore that I like. Love Minor Threat, Circle Jerks, Black Flag, but I haven't really, I'm not so attracted to the genre that I've really, dug much deeper than that. s.o.a, again, for me personally, this is more just kind of the novelty of like, oh, this is what Henry was doing, way back when, before he was in Black Flag. And then, like I said, for me, this is just a quantum leap in quality. So it's not that other stuff sucks necessarily, but it's just a bunch of, it's a bunch of high school kids and doing their first projects, and they're doing the best they can. And what's the best thing about it is the enthusiasm. Whereas this is just musically just leaps and bounds beyond what everyone else, including Ian MacKaye's other bands, were doing. Just the songwriting, just like everything is just so much just more advanced and just better. Like, this is just great music beyond the fact that it's fast and loud and a bunch of screaming. Like, the other stuff, for me personally, there's not much more to it than that. It's fast and yelling and screaming, and but this is like great music in addition to the yell. It's more sort of coincidental that it's a bunch of yelling and screaming. So Government Issue, again, like, this is, this band evolved quite a bit. Not that I've heard a ton of their stuff, but I'm just aware that they weren't always just like pure hardcore. I think they even got more kind of like psych later on. And again, just like, and then we're back to Minor Threat, like, oh my God. More just kind of basic hardcore here, in my opinion. So that's what I like most about this. I look at this as all kind of one thing. Like, a lot of box sets are like compilations, like it's a bunch of individual stuff, and this technically is, but I look at this as all one sort of big body of work. Like, let's take all this as one thing, a bunch of buddies in a scene, and what they were all kind of collectively did here. Oh yeah, and then the booklet, I like the fact that this is a fairly minimalist booklet. I don't like it when they get all like super deluxe and fancy and expensive with the book. It's usually more than I need, but this is just kind of a handful of photos, a little bit of a write-up here. This just kind of helps you, the tape pictures, it helps you kind of like immerse yourself a little bit in the scene of like, okay, this is who and what we're dealing with and when. So I like it, you know, and it was $50 at the time. It seemed expensive, like $50 for just for what I thought was going to be 6 7 inches, ended up being 7 7 inches, um, and but you know I'm glad I got it. I think it's an interesting document, and you know it immediately started selling for like $250. Um, okay, so we're at about 16 minutes here. Um, I'm kind of going back and forth about talking about these other records. I'm gonna do a separate video about these other records, maybe wearing these exact same clothes. So we'll see. Um, okay, thanks a lot, everybody. See you next time.